Please, my name is Jessica and welcome to Makeup Misfit. So I only have a few minutes to film this video as I'm leaving shortly, and because I know this is going to be a quick update, I figured why not sit down and film it now. Plus, I wanted to film it before I washed my hair tomorrow because I got my hair done a couple of days ago and I wanted to film while it was still kind of fresh, even though all of the curls have completely fallen out. I still wanted to do it before I actually washed my hair for the first time since. So this is my first update for panning solitaire for the second round. If you watched my update last month, I kind of refreshed and chose a new palette. I was previously working on the Mercury Retrograde palette by Huda Beauty. I still had 2 shades left to hit pan on in there, but because I knew it was going to take quite a while and I didn't want to just throw updates with no usage on it, or no progress, I decided to refresh, bring in a new palette, but continue to show you guys progress on that palette. Now, I'm going to tell you I haven't used it at all, so what I'm going to do is instead of showing you guys the Mercury Retrograde palette every month when I'm not using it and there's nothing to show for it, I will show you progress when there is some. So you will still continue to see the palette, but I'm not going to sit down and talk about it for a couple of minutes when there's not going to be anything to talk about because I really haven't reached for it. So the palette that I chose to start working on is the Rose Quartz palette by Huda. Now, if you haven't seen this project from me before, it was also, I got the idea from the Fantastic Ladies pan that palette one year. I want to say it was 2020. So basically the way that I've been doing it is I roll in a single shade. When I hit pan on that, I roll in a duo. When I hit pan on both of those 2 shades, I then roll in a trio. Now, once I hit pan on all 3 of those shades, I start back with a single and I continue that way until every shade in the palette has pan in it. Now, with the size of these pans, with the amount of shades that are in them and just the flow of it, it works really well to do 3 rounds of a single, duo, and then a trio. So I kind of wanted to keep that flow going, so that's partially why I chose this palette. And I also had started using it a couple of days before I decided to refresh. Got a couple looks out of it, which I really enjoyed. So I was excited to actually start using this palette because I've had it for a little while now and haven't quite reached for it prior to. So I really wanted to get some use and love on this. So like I said, I rolled in my first shade, my single, last update, which was the shade Radiate. So I am going to show you that. Now, I did think I would have a lot more usage to show you guys or progress to show you than I do, but this is the shade here. And as you can see, there's a couple little bit of brush strokes in there, but there's nothing to really show you. So I was using a fluffy brush with this. That's what I've been using for most of the year. Last year I was using a more dense, stiff crease brush, which I really enjoyed using, but because of the eye irritation I was having, I switched to the fluffy brush. I'm using both brushes currently. So I have started using this shade with the previous crease brush, which I'm hoping will show a little bit more usage quicker. But it's only been a couple of goes in the shade with that, so there really isn't going to be any usage to show you guys up until hopefully next month. So this will still be in here for a little bit. And what I did forget to mention to you guys in the last update was I'm going to continue it the same way I did the first round of this. So basically, whenever I happen to hit pan in the shade is when I'm going to roll in a new one. So not that it's going to be anytime soon, but if it's like halfway in between updates, I will roll for the new set of shades, but I will just screen record them and then I will show you guys when I do an update. But if I am close enough to when I film the next upcoming update, I will just wait until then to actually roll in a shade. I just wanted to keep this project going. I didn't really want to stop and have to wait until an update to roll in a new shade. If I was able to roll in a new shade, I would just do it at that time. Like I said, screen record it and show you guys on the updates. If you want to see, I did that last year with the previous palette quite a few times. So I would just like to continue keeping it that way, just letting this flow. It's just supposed to be an easy, chill project for myself. I just want to get some use. I pan that palette. I loved it. I love the idea of it, but I don't know. I like doing it this way instead. So this is kind of my pan that palette, but I just don't call it that. But I'm really enjoying using this palette so far. I am mainly only reaching for that one shade. We'll see if I branch out and decide to use others. I definitely can. I don't want to necessarily restrict myself, but I think for what I did for the most part last time as well with the Mercury Retrograde palette was only really focused on the shades that I was using. unless they had previous usage on it before the project. But I'm definitely going to allow myself to play with the palette. I haven't quite done that since I've started this last month, but I have a bunch of other shades that I'm currently focusing on in other projects. So I'm kind of tweaking everything and pulling it all together. I use this as my crease shade, and I pair it with my Glaminatrix, not my Glaminatrix, my Glamlight Chocolate Martini palette, which has been my level up palette for level 3. They really go hand in hand together, so they come out beautifully, those looks. I've also paired that shade with my ABH&M Reezy palette, the brown shade that's in my Panless Eyeshadows. And even though that's a much warmer brown and this is much cooler, they still, like, this shade will kind of tweak that shade just a little bit, make it a little bit more neutral in certain areas of my eye, because I'm blending the two shades together, opposed to using the Glamlight palette because it is cooler for the most part. And I just get a really pretty, coolish looking neutral warm tone, not warm tone, just a pretty look. It's been a long day. It's gonna be a long night, so we're only partway through, and I do have to leave here in a couple of minutes. So I am gonna wrap this up and stop rambling, but I hope you guys have been enjoying this project, or if you've been watching this series from the very beginning, or if you are just jumping in now, let me know down below how you're enjoying this, if you are at all, and where you kind of started, because I'm just curious to know. And yeah, that's it. I don't know why I keep holding on the palette, but that is everything for this. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys all later. Bye.